All right. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Audie, and I am your host, Audie. Continuing with 2020 Monologue, this is the month of May. Yes, I went into Jamaica, this the end of last year. Last year, yes, because 2020, with my hair, kind of full and almost reaching the end of my nose, but now, it's been curled and it's barely reaching my forehead. Save the comments for later. Anyways, right, month of May. How do I navigate May? Because May was like that kind of month that just went passed by, and I barely remember much that happened in May because most of the things that were significant in May happened at the beginning, surprisingly, at the beginning of the month. The first thing I'm gonna say, being of course you guys can clearly see that my skin color is black. That's not news. Yay, that's not news. Yeah, I'm black. I'm from the Bahamas. I think that may be news that I'm from the Bahamas. But the key thing is that in terms of prejudice, when it comes to the Bahamas, is that I'm accustomed to prejudice in regards to skin color and as well as nationality. That's one of the key things that in terms of the Bahamas, it's pretty prevalent. Racism isn't one of those things that you tend to hear a lot about in the Bahamas, even though it may exist. But in the U.S., being in the U.S., I've heard about racism, and then I've learned about it and all of these different things. But for you to sit down in the classroom and learn about racism, it's a different thing to experience it hands on. So in May, a few friends gathered for a birthday celebration, and we were staying at Airbnb, and wake up that morning, decided to go ahead and kind of do my little morning regimen in terms of working out. And I was walking around the backyard and enjoying the view before I actually did my workout. So I was walking around, to take a very, very, very slow stroll. And so the neighbor, she came outside and she saw me taking a stroll. And the dog was barking. She looked at me and I saw her. And I said, "Good morning." And she was like, "Good morning." And then she looked at me and she's staring. I'm like, she's staring. Then she proceeds to say, "What are you doing over there?" I'm like, were you staying here for the weekend? She's like, "You're not supposed to be there. When did you get here?" I'm like, "We got in last night." And then, by my response, she was like, she kind of like, "Oh." And then she was like, "Is there someone you want me to call for you?" What? Call for me? Like, this woman know me? Like, who is she can possibly call for me? This is my thinking. And I'm like, I don't recall giving you a number for you to call someone for me, so I don't know who are you gonna call. And then she looked at me and was like, she was expecting. I people say I have a smart mouth, and it's like no matter what the situation is, if something doesn't make sense, I'm gonna be smart in regards to my response. So that's what I told her. I was like, I don't recall giving you a number for you to call someone for me, so I don't know who are you gonna call. And then she proceeded to stare at me, and whilst I was still getting ready to do my workout and taking my little stroll, and then before she left, she said this, and this is what really got me like a little confused. Just make sure you stay on your side of the fence. And I was like, "Thank you for the information. I'll make sure I do that." And she went inside. And then I continued to do what I was doing. I didn't really have any F's to give to her because clearly my F's was towards something else that I was more wanted to engage in, which is pretty much doing my workout for that morning. And so a few minutes later, as I'm getting ready to go into my workout after taking my stroll, her husband comes outside, and I saw him walking towards the fence, and I was close to the fence as well, and this dog came over and started barking. And then as soon as he got close enough to the fence, I said, "Good morning, sir. How are you doing?" And he said, "I'm doing great." It's like, "How are you?" I'm doing very, very great. Thank you, sir. And he had nothing else to say. But just with his sheer reaction in terms of how I, jovially said good morning to him, I felt as though his wife went inside and told him a story, and he was coming outside to kind of, trying to justify and, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like knights and honoring the pride of their mates. He's coming, kind of, honor the pride of his wife and kind of, say something to me. But in terms of how I reacted to him, it's like he had nothing else to say. He just stood there and just watched me as I did what I was doing. And then he just went inside. He didn't say anything else. And so when I went back inside after I was done my workout, and I told everybody in the Airbnb what had happened outside, they was like, "Did you not realize that woman was being racist to you? If that was me, I would have literally tell her a piece of my mind." And then I'm sitting there listening to what everybody have to say, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's like I had so much other things more important than to deal with. Let's just call her Karen. I had so much more important things to deal with than to deal with Karen and a BS, because clearly Karen is not culturally diverse enough to know that every black person that she sees is not out to get her. And I'm also diverse in terms of knowing that not every white person that I meet is going to be a racist, but clearly the racists that I do meet, that's my first one that I encounter. So I have to find a way not to deal with them as way as in the same way that everybody else they deal with them in the same way that they perceive that everybody is gonna respond to them when they are being racist. And I just listened to what everybody's saying. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I do realize that, you know, in terms of what we kind of see and then portrayed in the media, this is exactly how everybody was saying that what they was going to react, that I should have reacted as well. But that is not the avenue I took, because I felt as though if I had reacted in that way, that could have escalated a situation to a level that it didn't necessarily need to be. And so, you know, I just answered it as smart as possible as I can, not necessarily giving it enough a reason for her to kind of react. And I went and deal with the thing that I wanted to give my F's to, which is me getting my workout in and doing and taking my stroll. And so another thing happened in terms of, you know, I got into argument, and you know, so the person I got into argument kind of made me realize a key factor, or a key skill, something that I tend not to realize that I did. They told me that, you know, we was playing a game, and you know, at one point I kind of was given my insight in terms of something, in terms of how I felt as though the game should be played in terms of making it more competitive. And you know, he's been playing the game longer than I have, and you know, in terms of experience, he's more experienced than I am, and I'm just trying to learn how to learn to play this game or what not to do, because I'm learning from making my mistakes. So he said, you know, you always feel as though, he said, you know, you always feel as though you know more than everybody, and always criticizing everybody for what they're doing. And it's like, you don't really know everything. And I was like, yeah, I know I don't know everything, but what I do know, I'm trying to help someone see it from my perspective so that they can utilize it in their best way. I'm not telling them what to do, but I am showing them a different option in term besides the one that they already had. And then it's like they went on and said something else, and I was like, well, thank you for the criticism. I appreciate the criticism. Now that helped me in terms of knowing something that I didn't know about myself. And I think I said it. When I said it, it's like it hit me in the term of epiphany that I realized that I didn't realize I was doing something to my friends in terms of criticizing for everything that they did. But the way I said it, it was like I was being condescending, and I didn't realize that I was being condescending in the way that I said it. And I think a lot of from the entire experience in terms of 2019, even leading into 2020, a lot of people would say that they would tell me, "Audie, it's not what you say, it's how you say it." And in that moment, in terms of how I said what I said, and the reaction that the person had to what I said and how I said it, I realized that, damn, it's like I really have a problem in terms of how I say certain things, and kind of, you know, making people feel as though they are not heard, and with the way I said it. And in that moment, and then when I sat down and kind of saw the reaction that the person gave, I was like, why are they reacting that way? And I kind of sat down and I was kind of pondering on what I said and how I said it. And I realized that how I said it was what may have contributed to the reaction that I got from the person. So it's like, I was like, flip, that was a good lesson. But, you know, then I had to go ahead and apologize and let them know that, you know, I was wrong for what I said. But yes, I did appreciate the criticism, and they helped me to realize something I didn't realize that I was doing myself. And I really appreciate it. But it's like, if I was more and so in terms of being egotistical and being, engulfed with my ego, I would never actually took that lesson to realize that how much I was criticizing the people around me. And even if I was, even if they was criticizing me and I kind of felt as though it was constructive criticism, the way I was responding to them in their constructive criticism was kind of creating a fork, a wall in terms of us understanding and me understanding where they're coming from, and me making sure that they understand I appreciated what they were saying, and that I wanted to kind of, listen to them and what they had to say about me so that I can learn about myself from their view and their perspective. And, those were two of the main highlights. I wouldn't say they're highlights. Two of the main things that, kind of taught me a whole lot about myself and me. And yes, that brings us to the end of the episode. Woo! Jesus. It's 5 days. It's 5 days. And, it's been good. It's been fun. It's still fun. And you know, we still have about 7 more left to go. And if you think the first 5 months was a lot, Jesus, wait until the rest of the year. So with that said, peace, love, and enjoyment. Thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And with that said, deuces, I'm outie. Until the next one, see you guys for June. Haha!